You really have to respect just how much TVS works on its top 310cc platform. Ever since the RR 310 in 2017, it feels like every year there is an update. And now with the RTR 310, we have an update for 2025. This bike was launched in 2023. TVS heard some negative feedback about it. They put out a bunch of fixes in 2024. And this year, well, there's more stuff on the bike. Now, this is not a revolutionary change by any means. The riding experience in terms of what the RTR 310 is all about and what you will get from this bike is pretty much the same as it was. But they have refined things. They've added a few small touches. Some of them are visual, most of them are electronic, and there is one mechanical change. Today we are at Coimbatore. We got to ride the bike through the city, through some chaotic roads, lots of traffic. That was a nice place to judge one of the important changes that TVS has made. And then we came here to Coast, which is a fast circuit that rewards horsepower, rewards high speed. This bike touched third gear once. It was always fourth, fifth, sixth gear. So what is new on this motorcycle? I think we'll start with what has not changed, and that is the main chassis, the swing arm, the subframe, the suspension, the lovely Michelin Road 5 tires. It's great that TVS is still able to provide these tires. The brakes, that is more or less all the same. In terms of the engine, peak power has not changed dramatically. It's not gone up to 38 horsepower like the RR 310. Now the RR is the powerful one. The RTR is slightly below that, but TVS has worked on it. Now they recognize that the RTR 310 was quite an aggressive, maybe even over-eager motorcycle. I remember commuting on it in Mumbai a while ago, and my thought was that this bike just doesn't want to chill. I like an energetic motorcycle, I like an aggressive motorcycle, but sometimes you just want to chill, and the old RR wasn't very good at that, and TVS has recognized that. So what they've done is they've worked on the throttle response, and what they say is now they measure not just how much you're opening the throttle, but also how quickly you're opening the throttle. And based on that, they cater the torque response to what you'll feel. So if you want to ride calmly and even in sport mode in the city, the initial throttle opening is not aggressive. Give it a little more, even 20% with some speed, and this thing responds and it comes alive and it's aggressive and it's exciting. It's a brappy engine. But it also happens to be able to be a little more calm in traffic, and I think that's a small change, but it's a really meaningful one. It means that this bike is now just a little more easy to get along with in the city. Going with that is the mechanical change we were referring to. It's now the same sprocket sizes as the RR 310. The RTR 310 was super short geared. It had a big rear sprocket. They have toned it down slightly. It's still a short geared motorcycle, but that change goes with this new mapping to actually do a pretty decent job. TVS even says up to about, I think, 4,000 RPM, the lower end torque on this engine is better than it is on the RR 310. This engine still does love to rev though, and it's never been a very smooth engine. TVS has put in a lot of work to reduce the vibrations that you feel in the back of the seat, in the fuel tank, and the foot pegs. They are still there. They still come up above 5,000-6,000 RPM, but they're not really very harsh to the point that they make you not want to ride the bike. I now chalk it down to character. When I first rode the RTR 310, I think it was a little too strong. It's there, you've got to be okay with it, but it's not overwhelmingly so. So that's what the engine is all about. Coast, like I said, very fast track. There's a long uphill section. All of these small capacity bikes seem to suffer there, but because it's got short gearing, it manages just well. And one more thing it has is a quickshifter. It's not particularly new this time around, but I have to say it is still the best quickshifter on a single cylinder bike. It's beautifully smooth up or down, and it was really nice to use around the racetrack. Now let's talk about the other changes that this bike has. We've already talked about the improved throttle response. They also have something called drag torque control. This is something that you will see in some big bikes as well, where basically it helps the slip assist clutch to prevent the rear wheel from locking under hard downshifts. Now this bike does have a slip assist clutch and it works pretty well, but if you downshift really aggressively, let the clutch out, it can still chirp the rear wheel and cause a little instability. What the system does is it basically puts a little fuel into the engine, raises the torque slightly, and that reduces the back torque that's causing that differential in speed between the gearbox and the wheel, which makes the tire lock. So when you downshift aggressively with the drag torque control enabled on the display, you can actually feel a difference in the smoothness and how the bike slows down. It's not something that's going to make a big difference on the road. It's probably not something that many customers are even going to notice, but it's something that does help. And again, out on the track, it was nice. That leaves us with the feature-oriented updates on the bike. The biggest one is that it has keyless start and ride. There's just a little keyless symbol out here and a button out here to start and stop the bike and lock the handlebar. This is only available in the top BTO kit, which also brings in a bunch of TVS's advanced riding aid systems. There's cornering traction control, cornering cruise control, a whole bunch of stuff. TVS is really pushing the bar when it comes to these intelligent electronic technologies, safety assists. No one is doing anything close to it. There is a downside to it. I'll address that at the end, but you have to give them credit for the kind of stuff that they put on this bike. Other visual changes include the fact that there are now 4 new colors. They all have a bit of graphics in them. These handguards are new, and you have sequential LEDs, which is something the RR310 recently got as well, and it does look quite nice. Beyond that, the bike is visually the same, and from a riding perspective, it's also very, very similar. We have this bike with the BTO Kit 1 installed, which gives you the fully adjustable front suspension, rewound and preload adjustable rear suspension. And when we rode on the street, it was nicely backed off, soft, squishy, really quite comfortable. When we went out of the track, that suspension setting predictably was too soft, so we came and added some damping on the front, added a little on the rear. It improved the bike, but there was one issue with this motorcycle that has been an issue with the RR for a long time, and that's the fact that these foot peg feelers really scrape down on the tarmac very easily. It can be quite startling on the track when you throw the bike over to its side and smacks down on the foot peg peeler. Not a good feeling. So for the second session, we had them removed on the bike that we are out on, and it's still sort of ground down. I guess my speed around the track also improved. This is a track that, like I said, really you want to stay on the gas as much as possible, keep the speeds up. There is a further solution that you can do in terms of adding a lot of preload to the rear shock that will basically stiffen it up, raise the ride height a little bit and help. But this is effectively not a track weapon, and I don't think it's going to be as capable or as fast as a KTM Duke 390 around the track. But it's a bike that you will have a lot of fun on.
And that's because this is a really sweet handler. The RTR 310 feels light, agile and quick turning, but it's also comfortingly stable. Like its fair sibling, the RR 310, this is a great motorcycle to improve your skills on because of its combination of capability as well as rider friendliness.
I wanted to just keep riding lap after lap after lap, and I only came in when the fuel level got quite low. So don't buy this bike if you're interested in being a track day regular, but if you maybe want to visit the track once, see what it's like, you will enjoy this bike. There are some limitations to the RTR 310 on the track, and one of the big ones is how you sit on it. On the street, this is really very nice. It's an 800 mm seat height, which is good for riders of various shapes and sizes. The riding position is a little sporty, a little committed, nice wide handlebar. It feels good, but it's also comfortable. On the track, however, like I've said before, there's really not a lot of room for you to move back. And when you tuck down, this display is literally right in your helmet. So it's not a track bike. TVS isn't saying it's a track bike, but these are things that you need to keep in mind if you intend to buy this, bring it to a racetrack. Before we end, there are a couple of features that I forgot to mention that you should know about. Other changes include the transparent clutch cover, which is like what we got in the RR310. It's a fun feature, it looks cool. And there's also launch control in this motorcycle now. Again, really not something that you're going to use very often, but it's a fun thing to have. Put it in track mode, hold the clutch in, gas fully open, it holds it at about 7,200 RPM, release the clutch, and the bike manages everything for you. So basically, it's just another feature that adds to the special feeling with this motorcycle. But that brings me to my closing point on this motorcycle, and I think that there is such a thing as too many features. And a good way to explain that is the pricing structure on this motorcycle. Now, first of all, TVS has done a nice thing. The introductory price of the new RTR 310 is actually 10,000 rupees less than it used to be. You have 3 basic versions of the motorcycle. You have a base model, then there's the top model, which is basically the base model with the quickshifter, and then you can option for the BTO packages. We'll put tables here for what the BTO packages give you. BTO Pack 1 will cost you 18,000 rupees and BTO Pack 2 will cost you a further 28,000 rupees. And that's where it gets confusing, because the base version of this bike, which still has good things like the 5-inch TFT display, the good LED headlamp, which is one of the best LED headlamps out there from our previous experience. It also has traction control. It even has cruise control, basic cruise control, not the cornering cruise control. But the point is, the base bike still is well equipped, and it's only at 2.4 lakh rupees ex showroom at the moment. I would say it's worth spending the extra money on the quickshifter because it really is that good, and it really adds to the riding experience of this motorcycle, whether you're on track or on the road. That takes the price up to 2.57 lakh rupees, but anything above that and it starts becoming a little confusing, because if you go for BTO Pack 1, you're looking at 2.75 lakh rupees, introductory 2.85 lakh rupees without the introductory prices. And then you go for the BTO Pack 2 and suddenly you're above 3 lakh rupees ex showroom.
On top of all that, 2 of the 4 colors will also cost you more money. 5,000 rupees more for the fiery red that you see here, and a full 15,000 extra for the Sepang blue. Here's what the RTR 310's pricing structure looks like.
And then it's hard to justify an Apache with a 310cc engine competing with a KTM 390 Duke with a 400cc engine, much more power, and for all practical purposes, more pedigree as well. So I think that the features are a great thing, but if you look at this bike fully equipped, it's not a great value proposition. But if you look at this bike in its lower level, it is closer to the KTM 250 Duke, and you're getting a really exciting, much higher performing package and a really well equipped bike for that money. The top end model, well, if you really love your technology, then I suppose you will find value in that. But for everybody else, the base and the mid versions are the ones to go for.